It's okay.
They usually do bigger crowds, I'm sorry.
I know, I'm sorry. Take a seat. Cool. So I haven't met you guys yet. I know you're from Nifty. Everyone's getting here late. It's been, it's the end of a banger week, or the start, depending on which side of it you're on. And so it's 5 p.m. on the second day. So I'll let you guys make introductions for yourself. We haven't had time to organize back there completely. Do you want to start, Kevin?
Yeah, I'm happy to start. My name is Kevin Leffew. I'm the Chief Product Officer and co-founder of Jupiter Group. We work with artists, celebrities, and athletes to help bring them into the NFT market. We're at the frontier of fine art and Web3, and I'll go into some of the tech things that we're doing that help drive innovation in that space. Let's go Boonji. And formerly Storage, STORJ.
Hi, I'm RadLaserFalcon. I'm CEO, Chief of Creative Strategy and Storytelling for Ethereals, PFP project.
Dope.
Hi, everybody. My name is Evan Hecht. I'm fully doxxed, but I go by Bissell. Other people know me as NFT SniperBot on Twitter. I've been in crypto for 3 or 4 years. Just jumped into NFTs June 1st. Ended up buying the right things, Z1, Z2, horses. I bought 11 Bored Apes, 2 CryptoPunks. It gave me a lot of credibility in the space, and I built a Twitter following around it, and just kind of kept track of everything I was doing. Along the way, I met an artist. He had some really cool 3D art. I said, hey, we should make a generative project. He was like, no, man, it's so much work. I run a global recruiting firm, so I helped him get a really top talented developer. Brought in the CEO, so I didn't have to be the face of it, even though I guess I'm the face of it, guys. And we sold out 3,000 units in 20 seconds. And we took a Discord from 200 people to today, 42,000, and all organic. We didn't pay for anything. Like literally knocking on doors personally, meeting people at conferences, spending 5 minutes with someone to walk them through the whole story. And I've left a bunch out, but one of the other really cool things, so my project is ChibiLabs. I'm a co-founder in ChibiLabs. We have 3 collections, Chibi Genesis, Chibi Apes, and Chibi Galaxy. One of the coolest things we did is we took all the money from the second drop and we bought a huge piece of land in DCentral 10 weeks ago. We just developed it. We could talk more about it, but reached out to the community, found some great developers, and we have a great space in DeCentral, chibination.dcl.eth.link. Check us out.
Awesome.
Sweet, and I'm Lawrence. I go by Digital Lawrence online. I'm the founder of Nifty Labs. We build digital asset authentication systems. So essentially what we do is we allow digital assets to be whitelisted into virtual events, metaverses, in real life events, digital communities, and like e-commerce.
Rad, cool. Good mix of talent up here. So for those of you who have done large PFP drops, what would you say was the key differentiator to success or failure that you went through in your project?
Community, period. Community.
Sure. So how did you what was the key to making that community form for you guys?
So with our project, I think we have similarities in ours. We didn't spend $1 on marketing whatsoever. We got 2,000 members to our Discord within the first 24 hours. Our community is around 22,000 on Discord now. We sold out our project of 12,345 PFPs in about 18 minutes. I would just say organic community growth. There's a lot of strategies that come into play with that. I think the basics of our storytelling was a big part of that initially to get people to be interested in it. Our collection and the traits that are part of it lend a lot of flexibility and a lot of inclusivity. So we don't have any kind of characters or traits that are gendered or lean into any kind of ethnicity or anything like that. So there's a lot of flexibility where people can kind of envision themselves within the story. And then we pulled traits and references from all kinds of inspiration throughout the metaverse. So allowing us to be able to play well with other collaborators, other collections. This was intrinsically built into the collection so that we could bake in utility for our community through partnerships.
Very cool. Very cool.
So community, that's our project's all about that.
And just so we're clear, can you tell us a little bit about Ethereals, like what they are, the vision?
Yeah, so Jimmy Danko is the lead artist. He's sitting there in the audience. So part of our founding team, one of the founders was also from Oniforce as well. So his initial idea was, and it's JR Artspace, and his initial idea was to come up with a ghost PFP. And just ghosts are great. They're really popular throughout the world. And the brief part of the lore is that all of these creatures came from around the metaverse. They came to this one location, and then there was some tech made, and then when the tech was rides in an amusement park, and when these creatures ride on the rides, they kind of basically explode from joy, become eternal, and then they have these sheets that are like ghosts, and they can travel throughout the universe in different dimensions, and the sheets are kind of like their protective mechanisms, but their traits are where they were blown up in this element and recombined to create these like different individualistic ghosts.
That's some sick lore.
It's kind of crazy.
Some pretty
yeah.
fucking sick lore. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Cool, and yeah, like everyone else on the panel, community is key, and that's how we built the Boonji community. One of the kind of key differentiators that we implemented was working with an IRL, in real life artist with already a large following, Brendan Murphy. So his art was collected by Serena Williams, Novak Djokovic, Shaq, a bunch of other celebrities. And so we were able to leverage his existing patron base to help build some of our early community supporters. Our profile pic project, Boonji, is the collection of 25 years of Brendan's work. So we took elements across it from his paintings to his sculptures and incorporated that into the PFP project that we launched with him. Our focus is also bringing on kind of a solid cadence of tech updates to our community. And so we like to really exist at that frontier of Web3, which kind of has enabled the NFT industry and fine art. One of the cool things that we've done that I've gone into is around physical redeemables. So everyone here, or probably some people here, are familiar with the story of Unisocks, which was created by Uniswap. Unisocks was a collection of 200 pairs of pink socks, originally traded about $10 each, and were dropped to early Uniswap contributors and members, but were represented by a physical token or a digital token, an NFT that traded on a public market. If you burned that token via smart contract, you were able to input your address and redeem that pair of socks. And it's a great case study because it showcases the power of global markets, right? These socks could be viewed as, you know, some kind of hype merch like Yeezys or something like that. But they've climbed to about $20,000 per token in price. And so, you know, I think that case study highlights kind of the power of globalized markets for art, which is traditionally an illiquid market. And so bringing in kind of liquidity and real-time price analysis into that market has fundamentally changed how artists like Brendan Murphy have created their art and built new patron bases. Yeah, exactly. So, and what's beautiful about the community is that everyone that's involved becomes an evangelist, right? We all know that. If you own a PFP NFT, you make it your profile picture in Twitter and Discord, you're instantly an evangelist for that artist, for that community, and that helps spur exponential growth in a way that wasn't previously possible.
Cool.
I have a different take on community, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I'll just jump in real quick. So kind of what we did at Nifty was, you know, every project pretty much has to start from zero, you know. So what we did, firstly, was we launched essentially like a beta NFT. And it was very small. We didn't have a large community. So we said, hey, we're going to make 440 NFTs. If you're in it, we're not sure where we're going to take this project, but we'll take you along with us. So that kind of became our first early evangelist, you know. It sold out. It took like 2 weeks to sell out because we literally had no community. But then those guys brought more people, and it's just doubled since. So now, you know, we're sitting, you know, around 18,000 community members, and we tried to go international first because I spent about 3 years living in Asia in the past bear market, and so our biggest communities are in the Vietnam, Philippines, and Germany actually. And the thing about that is it just shows how global crypto is, and it just makes it really cool. So what we did is we launched a very small project, and we said, hey, if you own this NFT, if we ever launch a token or another NFT, essentially consider yourself an owner of that. And 6 months later, we launched our token, and we did it on DEXs, and it's growing in volume today, like 10 million, and essentially those core people are getting those tokens airdropped to them, and they're also going to have the first option to mint our flagship NFT project next year.
Cool.
Everybody said some great things about community, but I was going to take a different angle. In general, what I might have misstated it before. It's not that I don't want to be the face of ChibiLabs, which I very much am, because I'm around at all these events. It's that I'm an ape. Ever since I bought those apes in June and the serum came out, I drank the serum and became an ape. And everything I do, I just go ape. So I brought in the CEO. It's a little bit more calm than me. But what I would say, when we were building the community, I was out there. I wasn't shy. I went back to my first Discord group, an options trading group. Nothing to do with NFTs. And I told my story, and then I go to the next Discord, and I tell my story with no links, just telling everybody the story. And literally, slowly but surely, building up traction organically. It spreads. One person tells another person, like you said, someone sees a PFP, they say, ooh, what's that 3D art? Someone sees us on Twitter, we have an augmented reality app, they say, hey, what's that? And then it leads to another person. So I'm of the mindset, sometimes it's hammer and nail, sometimes it's a screwdriver, sometimes it's a chainsaw, but I go ape on everything I do, so if I...
And so when you bought your Bored Apes, you immediately afterwards were like, this is dope, and everyone needs to know, and you went in every other community that you were in currently in Discord and let them know about it? Is that...
Pretty much, yeah. I let them know my story, that I just started in June. A friend advised me to get in VFriends and a Z1 horse. Actually, VFriends was rescheduled that Friday, and by the time Monday came around...
You couldn't get the drop going. I was at this place at 30, and Gary called our CEO at the time, and he was like, oh, we can't get... This NFT thing's so hard, man. We don't know what we're going to do. They couldn't figure out how to do a drop,
By Monday,
had one developer working on it.
By Monday, in true NFT degen fashion, by Monday we had no ETH left, so we didn't get the VFriends, We jumped in on a Friday. So I literally went to each Discord group and everybody I met, and I try to make that story shorter because I could get long-winded, but literally telling everybody the story one by one, and I also host a lot of spaces, probably 3-4 nights a week for 3 hours a night, sometimes till 5-6 in the morning.
You're a beast. You're a total beast.
I haven't slept in 6 months, dude.
You're a monster. You're a monster.
I think to his point, though, that's something that's a big departure on Web3 is this lack of competition. Don't look at this space as competition. Look at it as collaboration. I have personally gone out and really worked hard to shill other projects that would have, in the traditional sense, be considered competitors. For example, I was tweeting, sitting on AMAs, all kinds of stuff for a project called Toy Boogers. If you've seen recently, they have done a collaboration with Cool Cats. They've gotten some traction and visibility from, I think, Timepieces and some other notable projects. But that's just a friend, Doug, that I met through the Clubhouse community, through the Twitter community. Be generous with your time. Help other projects, collaborate with other projects. It's so much more, such a far departure from Web 2, which is compete, drag people down, everything's about insecurity. But I would say find people, collaborate with them, help them, do whatever you can, because it comes back 100 and 200 and 300x to you. And that shouldn't be the driving force, and never should be, but I think this is an opportunity to let so many other people have a place at the table, and to foster inclusivity and growing and learning, because we'll all get better that way. Not unlike open source code and things like that.
I think I think there's a horse trade of relationships that's going on in the community, and essentially it's if you give, you're gonna get. And if your friend's launching a project and you have an influence on Twitter and you just support them and you help them and you don't say, I want a percentage, I want this, I want that, and you just do it, it comes around full circle 10 times over.
And you have a lot of fun. That's the big part. I come from the big brand world. I've worked with brands like Oprah, W Hotels, Food Network, things like that. All the IP is completely locked down. You don't want to share with anybody. Everybody's got to sign NDAs. Everything's incredibly competitive. somebody calls me up, anybody could call me up or DM me or whatever. Hey, can you help me look at this? I'm an open book. I get on AMA, I'll give branding advice. I've done AMAs about derivative creation and like helping people concept and do things like that and how to navigate intellectual property and things like that. So, I mean, I'm taking I'm not gonna say how many years, let's say over 10. But let's say over 10 years of enterprise level brand experience and bringing that to the Web3 space and helping the tiniest little creators up to bigger people. I mean, I'd rather have people in this room who have incredible ideas and no platform make it than just help Coca-Cola over and over and over again forever.
It's like you got your soul back.
Yeah, exactly. Took a long road to get here, but yeah.
What are you guys? So you guys all have projects currently in the space. You guys are committed. You have communities. You're basically running public markets, because there's price discovery constantly going on. What are you seeing as the next big thing that's going to help your project and your community evolve and kind of like, get to that next mile marker that everyone's, in the community wants to get to?
I got that one. So I think I love saying this. Tupac lives. Remember Tupac? You can't believe I'm going to weave this in there. Tupac, I'm going to stand up for this. Tupac, technology, utility, people, art, and community. Those are the 5 big components that we have for NFTs. Tupac lives, okay? But one thing that's not in that phrase, play to earn. And I think what we're seeing, because I just built a nice big space in DeCentral and it's beautiful, and we have parties with DJs, but it's not sticky. It's not sticky unless I have a party with a DJ. And if you go to, there's many metaverses, so I'm not only stuck on DeCentral, but if you go to DeCentral and you want to know where the red dots are, where the people are right now, they're in the casino and they're in the Wonder Mine. The Wonder Mine is a big open field, rocks fall down from the sky, people run up to it, they hit it with a hammer, they get like an artificial coin, not an ERC coin. And what's crazy is that right now, I bet you there's 50, 60 people doing that. They just keep running after these rocks, they open them up, they take the coin out. So if you're us and you're an NFT project, everything's moving so fast. If you saw that room over there, how many different metaverses are out there, how many different utilities they have. So we have to keep up with that. And I think it's not enough to just build a space in the metaverse. You have to think about how you're going to get people back there. And then what's the benefit, right? So if people come back to my space, I can advertise, I can advertise Ethereals, just for whatever. They may have a drop coming up and I can advertise it there. So I think that you need to find ways to engage with your audience. Doesn't have to be metaverse. It could be physical merch. It could be whatever it is. You just have to keep thinking and keep evolving, because back in May or June, I think there was a lot of PFP projects that just threw up a PFP project, not a serious roadmap, and they sold out. That's not going to happen anymore, I promise.
I think that's called intermittent reward, if you want the psychological term for that, is that if you take mice in a lab and they push a button and they get a treat, they over time won't push the button any longer. If they push the button, they don't get a treat, they won't push the button any longer. But if the mice pushes a button and they get a treat sometimes, and sometimes they push it and they don't, that's the concept of intermittent reward, because we all as creatures are, looking for that next thing. We like surprise and delight. I think the more that you can bring surprise and delight to your communities and just keep it moving, like, can you do something in IRL? Can you do something within Discord? Can you do something within Twitter Spaces? Can you keep moving to find your community where they are? And I think you're absolutely right. Like, we have a large contingent in Asia. We have a large following in Philippines, Asia, UK, parts of Europe. But then too, like, leaning into that inclusivity, offering POAPs and things where people don't have to pay for things. Because for some people, one moderately priced NFT, like at a floor price, like $200 or whatever, that's like a month's worth of work. So think about your communities globally and how you can include them. And offer utility to things that people don't have to pay for. Offer utility for engagement within your community as well. So like really be thinking about like not such a global north perspective as pertains to both DeFi and NFTs or anything that we're creating in this virtual world, because if we are connected globally, we do need to think about everybody's particular entry points.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. And so gamification of NFTs is the next wave. We all know it. And it circles back to those principles of Web3 that we talked about. So a lot of the same concepts that originally came from the open source community, from the FOSS community, Linux Foundation, and the equivalents were embedded early on into the ideology of the Ethereum founders of the blockchain community. What we now have today is an open ecosystem that is extensible and oftentimes referred to as Lego blocks in the DeFi space. So any NFT is an atomic token, an atomic unit that can be taken and plugged into any other smart contract. That means you could have, a Bored Ape fighting a lazy lion someday. All these games can leverage the existing framework, the ERC 721 framework, to easily become interoperable with each other. And that's kind of a core component of this ecosystem, and how we, as a global ecosystem, capture value is around creating open standards and interoperability between projects. And that's how we differentiate ourselves from Web 2, from walled gardens, from Facebook, and from Meta.
And I think the reason why Web3 is so cooperative with each other is because there's way more people not in NFTs than are in it. So we know if the whole space expands, there's plenty of room for 1,000, 10,000x on this industry. So, we saw that early in crypto in like 2017, 2018, 2019, and now the NFT community almost is a whole parallel community to the DeFi community, and it's growing rapidly. I mean, this conference is pretty massive numbers, honestly, compared to a lot of other conferences. So I think NFT just 2x the entire crypto market cap as a whole, and we'll see that over the coming years.
It's cool. All right, we only got 2.5 minutes left. Really quick, other than your project, what project are you most excited about?
Gala Games.
All right, that's a token. Well, okay, what?
No, it's not.
Okay.
Oh, fine. Townstar. It's one of their games.
Townstar, it's their main game.
Okay.
Yeah, cool.
Sorry.
Cool.
I'm really excited about things outside of play to earn too. Like, I know everybody's excited about games, but again, I'm not getting paid for toy boogers, but I love toy boogers, and I'll tell you why. Because
Twitter boogers.
Because what we really need is more accessibility points for normies to get into, and when you have things that aren't so they're not burdened by complexity, like play to earn and games and all these kinds of tokenomics and things like that. If you say, hey, this is really cool art, I'm not really sure what I can do with it, but at some point in time there could be utility, or there could be like a merch component or IRL component. We really should look at that and how we can get more people into this space. The last statistic I saw was something like 70 million global crypto wallets. How many people are on Earth? How many people on Earth spend money? How many people on Earth like things in their life that are artful or creative or whatever? So if you really, as crypto people or DeFi people, if you really want to get the normies into this space, I would say the gateway drug is NFTs, and also IRL compatibility with those, and some sort of utility. And I love the play to earn. I'm not against that at all, but I'm just saying getting more people into it. So toy boogers, their utility is
Twitter
merch.
boogers.
Merch. Toy boogers, I'm telling you. It sounds gross, but merch.
So I'll take a little bit different of a take. What I'm most excited about in this space are zero-knowledge rollups. Coming from a distributed compute, decentralized storage background, I see zero-knowledge rollups as big of an innovation in the decentralized compute space as Ethereum was with smart contracts and Turing-complete blockchains in 2016. Zero-knowledge rollups enable Ethereum to scale by more than 1,000x. They solve a lot of the problems with Ethereum today and onboarding, problems like high gas fees. And once implemented, are going to massively change our landscape, enable higher transactional throughput, and add more security to how we interact with different wallets and blockchains today.
What's the timeline you think for that to launch proper?
Proper launch, so already there are implementations of zero-knowledge circuits, which are strings of proofs rooting out of the Ethereum blockchain that you can execute logic on. The big play is a zero-knowledge, fully EVM-compatible roll-up chain. My best insight is that's going to be Q1.
Cool, and I'm excited for the access to earn. That's like a new side of the NFT space and crypto space where instead of getting money to play a game, you get money to access new goods, services, servers, and software. So that's something I'm watching pretty closely.
Well, yeah, I'm in Subducks. I think they do a bunch of stuff with that. You earn your whatever, quack or whatever thing is, fish. I don't know. Cool. Thanks, guys. It's great having you guys on. Thanks for learning about all the projects. Is there anything else you guys want to go over? I think we might be one of the last things to do in the conference. No? Okay, just got it. We're the last one. Do you guys have any questions from the crowd? We could probably go over for a couple of minutes if there's anything. These guys are super fucking smart. So, like, if anyone up here really excited you. Yeah, Ethereum's going to revolutionize in Q1. That's your big thing.
Yeah. So with the launch of ZK EVM, there are two competitors, Starkware and ZK Sync, are the two kind of competing zero-knowledge EVM competitors. Put simply, a ZK rollup is a string of threshold proofs. So ZK, as a cryptography mechanism, first really was formulated in 2012. And simply put, it's creating proofs like, I'm over 21, I can prove I'm over 21, but I don't want to reveal my birthday. And so it was first used for kind of novel proofs like that. We quickly realized you could string these proofs together and virtualize a circuit, which you can run logic on top of. And that fundamentally changes the game. It changes how code gets executed on blockchain, and it separates compute from state and enables massive growth and scale. I think you'll find, Vitalik, the Ethereum Foundation, most people are kind of coming to terms with L2 scaling, and zero-knowledge rollups seem to offer benefits over optimistic rollups, over state channels, and over plasma implementations that solve a lot of the problems with previous attempts.
Thank you.
Legit. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.